Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk about Arrowhead CEO, man. Now, this post... This post over here, man, holy Christ, man. When I saw this, I think I was literally dumbfounded. Because I could not believe that the CEO of a company is able to tell a customer that they don't have an answer for something that their publisher did, right? Or they themselves did. I'll tell you what, I'm blaming both of them, okay? I'm blaming both Arrowhead Studios and Sony. I see a lot of people pointing one finger to either or, and I'm going to tell you why I blame both, okay? Number one, we already know Sony is the prime suspect as to why this is happening, okay? But the reason why I'm blaming both of them is because Arrowhead Studios, the CEO, openly admitted that he knew for 6 months that this thing was supposed to be mandatory. He knew for 6 months, and yet he still decided to do the dance, so to speak. And then not only that, both Sony and Arrowhead allowed Steam to sell the game in other countries that were not going to be able to play it 3 months down the line when they enforced it. So everybody's getting fucked here. Literally everybody's to blame, okay? Are you guys making fun of the way I say both? It's because I say both with an F? Is that what you're doing? Are you making fun of me? That's not allowed here. What do you think? This is bigotry? Racist? I'm just kidding. I don't care. So check this out. I saw this guy, Wedge, whatever. He put out a post, and it says, PlayStation Network isn't supported by my country. What do I do? Now, that's a very simple statement, right? Very simple statement as a customer who spent lots of money, right? It's not a cheap amount of money. They spent money with Arrowhead Studios and Sony to buy the game in their country. It was available to them. It's not like they made it available in the country for themselves. It was made available to them by Steam, by Arrowhead Studios, by Sony. So it's not the customer's fault. So he asked this question, and what does the CEO say? Bro, this shit blew my mind. He said, I don't know. How in the how are you the CEO for a company? Well, take that all away. How can you take a customer's money preemptively knowing that they were not going to be able to actually play the game, and your answer to them publicly was, I don't know? I mean, why even give this answer? Why even give this answer in the first place? This makes you look so bad. So bad. Oh my God. I'm telling you, I'm not being dramatic. I'm not being like disingenuous. I'm telling you right now, when I saw him say, I don't know, I literally fucking lost it. I was like, there's no fucking way. There is no way that this is a genuine response from a CEO of one of the most popular PC games right now, or one of the most popular games in general right now. There is no fucking way. I even had to verify that this was the actual CEO, because, you know, people say XYZ account is whatever. I need to verify. And it is the actual CEO. So I could not believe that he got this piss ass poor response. And then the crazy thing is you have Sony boys out there trying to be like, oh, you guys are just crying. You guys are crying. Stop crying. Right? You're willing to lick the boots so bad that you're just going to eat this shit because it's not affecting you. That's really what this is, man. That's why I made this meme. And I think it definitely fits for a lot of these Sony boys out there. So if you're watching this video, I know you're gonna downvote it on my Hypnotic Live channel, but it's fine. That channel's growing like crazy, so I don't really care. But this is why I made this meme today, because I just couldn't help myself. I was thinking, like, I'm so over these people disingenuously trying to tell everybody else it's not a big deal. I'm over them trying to pretend as if, like, oh, because I'm not affected, you guys are just crying. quit your shit, man. Because if I'll put it to you like this, how many PlayStation players, and I will admit this before I say this sentence, that PlayStation players will be more likely to do this than Steam players, but let's just reverse it. How many Sony soy boys would be out there bitching, right? How many of them would be out there bitching if they had to make a Steam account in order to play Helldivers online? If they had to go make a Steam account and link it in order to play Helldivers online, how many of them do you think would be complaining? Granted, like I said earlier, not as much as PC players complaining, but I would imagine that they would probably be bitching quite a bit. They wouldn't just be out there saying, "Oh, I'll just make an account." No, that's not what it would be. But at least if you made an account with Steam, your information would be a lot more protected than it would be on PSN. But I mean, hey, that's a whole different conversation. But I thought this meme was very well put together. I made sure to give proper representation because we can't have white people on screen. So I made sure to give her the modernity dreads. If you even want to call it a her, Abby's kind of like an in-between. I gave her the modernity dreads. And it basically says, for those of you who can't read it, gamers willing to take anything and gaslight, that is not a big deal. And then who's railing her? It is Daddy Corpo, happy to have shills in their player base. They will always take it like good little consumers. So straight into the point. I mean, it is what it is, right? Now, let me showcase this tweet really quick. So we have another one from the CEO. And again, I don't know somebody needs to take his Twitter away. Somebody needs to take the CEO's Twitter away because he is just fucking up. And I can understand that a lot of this is probably from overall just like either anger, maybe he's frustrated, whatever the case may be. But he puts out a post and he says, "It deeply saddens me the Helldivers game is also being review bombed due to the Helldivers 2 controversy." Okay, I understand that. You know, the first Helldivers game is being reviewed bombed because of what happened to the second Helldivers game. I don't know if that's genuinely justified. I think that's probably going a little bit overboard. But I can understand the frustration from that, right? Totally fine. If you want to voice that frustration, all good. All good. But then you're going to tie it to some sort of disingenuous reference about, oh, well, what's next? Review bombing Magicka and Gauntlet as well and other PlayStation titles? Bro, that is not the same. This is not the same. This is not even close to being the same. You're speaking as if you're one of these shills out there that are trying to disingenuously represent the entire narrative that's happening right now. People are angry because you bait and switched, okay? Magicka did not bait and switch. Gauntlet did not bait and switch. Helldivers, the first game, perhaps it did not bait and switch. You're right. But it is involved with the company that is currently being caught for bait and switching. So, yeah, it probably is a casualty of war. I would probably put that together. You know what I mean? Helldivers, the first game, is a casualty of war of the second game and what you guys decided to do when you decided to bait and switch people. This is not even close to being the same, right? So the funny thing is, he wants to say this as if this is going to bolster like some sort of argument. I don't know what argument you're trying to bolster here, but at the end of the day, you're both of you are at fault here, in my opinion. Sony's at fault. Arrowhead Studios is at fault. I got to be honest with you. At first, I was a little suspicious of Steam, and I always have some suspicion of companies. But the fact that Steam is removing over 177 countries from being able to buy Helldivers 2 is such an important information piece. You know what I mean? Like, this entire thing is such an important information piece because it proves that Steam, or at least in my eyes, again, my opinion, them removing the game from 177 countries proves that, number one, it was never supposed to be this way from the start. Number two, if it was supposed to be this way from the start, somebody lied to Steam, because Steam's not going to want to open themselves up to a very easy lawsuit. This is the easiest lawsuit in the world. Unless they refund everybody's money, right? unless they refund everybody's money in all 177 of those countries, this has to be the easiest lawsuit in the world. So Steam removed it from the store, which proves that this was never supposed to be this way from the start. But now that Steam realizes and knows that this is the way it's supposed to be, they're trying to protect their asses by removing it from the store. I can't blame them. I don't think anybody can blame them. So, and then, of course, you guys already know about the TOS being changed and all that. I don't have to rehash that. So this entire thing is just one big clusterfuck. It is one huge, huge clusterfuck. And it's following another clusterfuck, which is Stellar Blade, which, again, we already know about, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So, again, guys, I think that someone needs to take away Twitter from this CEO. He is not doing himself any justice. Oh, and he decides to make a terrible joke, too. He decides to make a joke from what killed, or not killed, but what severely hindered a company. Isn't that amazing? Like, he made the Blizzard joke. He made the, what, you guys don't have phones joke? Like, I get it. Ha ha, he, you know what I mean? That's the worst joke to make right now. That's the worst fucking joke to make right now. Like, your company is being destroyed. And you want to make a joke from the company that got destroyed by making that joke. It's just kind of weird. And then he said, on a serious note, we are talking solutions with PlayStation, especially for non-PSN countries. Your voice has been heard, and I am doing everything I can to speak for the community, but I don't have the final say. Well, here's the thing. You say you don't have the final say, but I find that to be a little bit hard to believe. You know what I mean? I get it. Sony is the ultimate say, but I think you are lowering how much of a say you actually have, because now that all this is going down, you don't want to be involved on a mass scale like this. And here's the reason why I believe that. So he says he doesn't have the final say, but apparently you had the final say when it came to causing all of this in the first place. You had the final say. It says it right here. You said, I do have a part to play. I am not blameless in all of this. It was my decision to disable account linking at launch so that players could play the game. It was my decision to disable account linking. Yours. Your decision. So you clearly have. I mean, you must have, right? You got to have some sort of power, I would imagine. So if you're the one that gave the final decision to cause all of this, why can't you be the final one to have the decision and say, you know what, let's not mandate it? Oh, it's because you made a decision that you knew that Sony was not going to be for. I would wonder if Sony even had a problem with the fact that they disabled the linking in the first place. But I guess Sony loved the amount of sales that was coming in, so they chose money over anything. But now that the money was starting to stagnate and they were basically starting to lose player base, not much, but they were starting to stagnate. Like they basically had their player base. They knew that they had what they were going to make. They had the people they were going to have, and they were going to try to start to monetize those people. Only at that point did they say, okay, well, it's time to do this shit. That's it. Only at that point. So again, guys, Sony agreed to do this. The CEO was the one that chose to do this in the first place. And that's why I blame both of them now. So I know a lot of people are like, take it to Sony, take it to Sony. I agree. Take it to Sony. Take it to fucking Sony. Absolutely. But do not let Arrowhead get away with some of the shit that they've done. Because they've done a lot.